It's good to be back doing Stranger Than Fiction. It feels like it's been forever. For the first one, we're doing a nice easy one. We're doing last meal requests. Did you know as of 2022, over 109 countries have abolished the capital punishment, 55 countries still retain it. In addition to those 55 countries, another 7 have abolished it, but they still maintain it for special circumstances, aka war crimes. And although the majority of nations have abolished capital punishment, 60% of the world's population lives in those 55 countries that still retain it. So on with the meal requests. In at number 10, we've got Philip Workman. He was convicted in 1982 of a murder of a police officer following a robbery in Memphis, Tennessee. For his 2007 last meal request, he ordered a vegetarian pizza to be donated to the homeless. The prison did deny this request, but that didn't stop homeless people getting pizzas. Lots of shelters received lots of pizzas. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. A woman donated $1,200 worth of pizzas, stating, "Philip Workman was trying to do a good deed, and no one would help him." Ingrid Newark, the president of PETA, donated 15 vegetarian pizzas and commented, "Workman's act was selfless, and kindness to all living beings is a virtue." In at number 9, Thomas J. Grasso killed 2 women, one aged 80 and the other aged 87. If I were this sicko, I'd be grateful to have the privilege of having a last meal. But he weren't all that happy with it. He'd requested steamed lambs and mussels, a Burger King double cheeseburger, barbecue spare ribs, 2 strawberry milkshakes, half a pumpkin pie, and a can of SpaghettiOs. But less than 1 hour before his lethal injection, he made a 4th and final statement. This statement was quite short and it was quite simple. It was, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." To me, that sounds very much like something Sheldon Cooper would say. And I mean, if we look at him just for a second, it does look quite a bit like Sheldon Cooper. Weird. In at number 8, and we're going to move quite fast on this one because he's sick. Timothy McVeigh was an American domestic terrorist. He was responsible for 1995 Oklahoma City bombings. Those bombings killed 168 people, 19 of whom were children, and it injured more than 680 people. Although personally, I think we should have let him starve, he was granted his last meal request of 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream, and then he was executed by lethal injection in 2001. In at number 7. If you think the request from that disgusting excuse of a human being Timothy was a simple request, then this one's even simpler. Murderer Victor Figueroa made his last request super simple. In 1963, he requested a single olive with the pit still inside. After he died, they found the pit inside his pocket. In at number 6. Ronnie Lee Gardner received a death penalty for killing a man during an attempted escape from a courthouse in 1985. For his request, he ordered steak, lobster tail, apple pie with vanilla ice cream. Oh, and a 7-Up. I mean, that is fairly normal, right? But he also requested something else. He requested the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And over 48 hours leading up to his execution, he watched the trilogy while reading Divine Justice. I mean, I don't even understand the rules of this last meal request thing anymore. How can you request a film for a meal? Personally, I'd have given him the film in pieces with a knife and fork. Anyway, he was executed by firing squad in the state of Utah in 2010. In at number 5. Lawrence Russell Brewer had a rap sheet. It seems that he really couldn't keep out of trouble. But in 1998, along with 2 other men, he tortured and killed a 49-year-old handicapped man in Texas. It suggested that the attack was racially motivated. And boy oh boy, in 2011, his request was huge. On that request was 2 chicken fried steaks with sliced onions dripping in gravy, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger with everything on the side, 1 cheese omelette with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers and jalapenos, a big bowl of fried okra with ketchup, 1 pound of barbecued meat and half a loaf of white bread, 3 fajitas with all the toppings, a Pizza Hut meat lovers pizza, a pint of Bluebell vanilla ice cream, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts on the top, and 3 root beers. Now, if you're thinking, that's just greedy, how can one man eat all that? Well, it weren't greedy, it was spiteful. When the meal turned up, he refused to eat it, and he said he weren't hungry. It wasn't long after that Texas banned allowing people to have a last meal request. Now, I think it's a bit stupid that they let him order that much to start with. Surely they'd have a limit, or at least you're not having 12 meals for your last meal. But that's just me. In with number 4. Adolf Eichmann was a major Holocaust organiser and a senior ranking Nazi officer. He declined a special meal, but he did have a request. He instead asked for a bottle of Carmel. That's a dry red Israeli wine. And he only drank half of it, and I think that's a major waste. I personally would have been drinking it all as fast as I could to get as drunk as possible. Adolf Eichmann was hung in Israel in 1962. Number 3. In 1976, Gary Gilmore robbed and murdered 2 men at a gas station. While disposing of the murder weapon, he accidentally shot himself in the hand, leaving a trail of blood. He was sentenced to death by firing squad after reportedly demanding his own execution. His request was 1 hamburger, hard-boiled eggs, 1 baked potato, several cups of coffee, and 3 shots of Jack Daniel's whiskey. I wonder which one he had first, the coffee or the whiskey. Down to number 2. Odell Barnes Jr. was convicted of killing a woman named Helen Bass in 1989. It said that he broke into her home, robbed her, beat her, stabbed her, and then killed her by a headshot. It said that she may have also been raped. Despite legal appeals and human rights groups and anti-death penalty advocates raising questions about the murder conviction, international media attention and diplomatic protest from the government of France, he was executed in the year 2000 by lethal injection. Maybe it was a snide dig at the legal system, I don't know, but for his last meal request, he requested justice, equality and world peace for his last meal. Obviously he didn't get that, it's quite hard to put on a plate. Maybe if he wanted to do some good, he should have just asked for some pizzas to be delivered to the homeless. In at number 1, I think this one gets misunderstood quite a lot. Born on the 19th of October 1952, James Edward Smith was sentenced to death in 1984. It was for the killing of a district manager of a Union National Life Insurance branch. A lot of people have said that he weren't being genuine, he was trying to be funny, or maybe he weren't hungry. Either which way, his request was Raki under dirt. Now, I did actually look this up, and Raki under dirt is used in voodoo rituals. So it's believed that he was trying to do a ritual to further assist his reincarnation. On the morning of his execution, a court agreed to hear his appeal and granted the stay of execution. 2 years later, he was again scheduled for execution. He refused his appeals and again argued that remaining in prison would be cruel and an unusual punishment, saying that he'd rather die and be reincarnated. On the 26th of June 1990, he was executed by the lethal injection. He proclaimed his innocence and uttered the Krishna blessing. Now, I'm not quite sure if the powers that be didn't take his request seriously, or if they knew what he wanted to do and just really didn't want him to reincarnate. But he was denied the soil, so he was given some yogurt. Bit of a kick in teeth, that, innit? No, you can't reincarnate, here's some yogurt. That's all we've got for you. I know this has done quite a lot, and I do apologise. But like I said, I wanted something quick, something easy. Just try and get in the swing of doing 2 videos a week. I hope you enjoyed it. Now what I want you to do is go into the comments down below and let me know what you'd like for your last meal. That's not an order. I'm not going to give it you for your last meal. What you would request for your last meal. I think mine would have to be bacon. See, I love bacon. I'm a massive meat lover. I love bacon. I love steak. I like my coffee, but it has to be perfect, you know. So if you bring it too cold, it's going to be ruined or whatever. So it's going to have to be bacon, steak. See, I love surf and turf. I'm just going to ask for a massive meat platter. I'm not going to ask for them. I'm not on death row. Guys, it's been lovely. I shall see you on Sunday. Goodbye.